Continental Motors, Incorporated is an aircraft engine manufacturer located at the Brookley Aeroplex in Mobile, Alabama, United States. Originally spun off from Continental Motors Company in 1929 and owned by Teledyne Technologies until December 2010. The company is now part of Aviation Industry Corporation of China, which is owned by the government of the People's Republic of China. Although Continental is most well known for its engines for light aircraft, it was also contracted to produce the air-cooled V-12 AV-1790-5B gasoline engine for the U.S. Army's M47 Patton tank and the diesel AVDS-1790-2A and its derivatives for the M48, M60 Patton and Merkava main battle tanks. The company also produced engines for various independent manufacturers of automobiles, tractors, and stationary equipment from the 1920s to the 1960s. History. In 1929, the company introduced its first aircraft engine, a 7-cylinder radial designated as the A70, with a displacement of 543.91 cubic inches that produced 170 horsepower. In August 1929, the Continental Motors Company formed the Continental Aircraft Engine Company as a subsidiary to develop and produce its aircraft engines. As the Great Depression unwound, 1930 saw the company introduce the 37-horsepower A44-cylinder engine. A follow-on design, the 50-horsepower A50 was introduced in 1938 and was used to power the Taylor Cub and derivative Piper Cub. As the Second World War started in 1939, Continental commenced building aircraft engines for use in British and American tanks. Continental formed Continental Aviation and Engineering in 1940 to develop and produce aircraft engines of over 500 horsepower. Continental ranked 38th among United States corporations in the value of wartime production contracts. During the late 1930s, early 1940s, the Gray Marine Motor Company adapted Continental engines for maritime use. On June 14, 1944, the company was purchased by Continental for $2.6 million. John W. Mulford, the son of one of Gray's founders, was appointed general manager of Gray by Continental. Gray's continued to make marine engines in the post-war period until its closure by Continental in about 1967. During the 1950s, the A65 was developed into the more powerful 90-horsepower C90 and eventually into the 100-horsepower O200. The O200 powered a very important airplane design milestone, the Cessna 150. By the 1960s, turbocharging and fuel injection arrived in general aviation and the company's IO520 series came to dominate the market. In 1969, Teledyne Incorporated acquired Continental Motors, which became Teledyne Continental Motors. That same year, the Continental Tiara series of high-output engines were introduced, although they were dropped from the line after 1978. The company brought the TSIO 520BE for the Piper PA-46 to market in 1984 and it set new efficiency standards for light aircraft piston engines. Powered by a liquid-cooled version of the IO-240, the Routan Voyager was the first piston-powered aircraft to circumnavigate the world without refueling in 1986. NASA selected Continental to develop and produce GAP in 1997, a new 200-horsepower piston engine to operate on jet A-fuel. This was in response to 100-octane aviation gasoline becoming less available as a result of decreased demand, due to smaller turboprop engines becoming more prevalent. In 2008, Teledyne Continental's new president, Rhett Ross, announced that the company was very concerned about future availability of 100 LL-AVAs and as a result would develop a diesel engine in the 300 horsepower range for certification in 2009 or 2010. By the fall of 2009, the company was feeling the effects of the economic situation and the resulting reduced demand for aircraft engines. The company announced that it would close its plant for 2 one-week periods in October 2009 and January 2010. Salaried employees would move to a 4-day work week with 1-week vacations for Thanksgiving and Christmas, with the aim to protect as much of our valuable employee base as possible. On December 14, 2010, Continental's parent Teledyne announced that Teledyne Continental Motors, Teledyne Motors Services and its general aviation piston engine business would be sold to Technify Motor Limited, a subsidiary of Aviation International, for $186 million in cash. Aviation is owned by the Chinese government. In May 2011, the transaction was reported as complete and the company renamed Continental Motors, Incorporated. On July 23, 2013, the company bought diesel aircraft engine manufacturer Thielert from bankruptcy for an undisclosed sum. Thielert will become an operating division of Continental and will be renamed Technify Motors GmbH. Continental aircraft engines equals opposed piston engines equals A40 Euro 4-cylinder, 40 horsepower, A50 Euro 4-cylinder, 50 horsepower, A65 Euro 4-cylinder, 65 horsepower, 80 octane, 1800-hour design time between overhauls, A75 Euro 4-cylinder, 75 horsepower, C75 Euro 4-cylinder, 75 horsepower, A80 Euro 4-cylinder, 80 horsepower, C85 Euro 4-cylinder, 85 horsepower, 80 octane, 1800-hour design time between overhauls, C90 Euro 4-cylinder, 90 horsepower, 80 octane, 1800-hour design time between overhauls, Continental. Tiara 4 to 180 Euro 0270, 4-cylinder, 180 horsepower, 1970, C115 Euro 4-cylinder, 115 horsepower based on the same cylinders as the C75. C125 Euro 4-cylinder, 125 horsepower, 80 octane, 1800-hour design time between overhauls, C140 Euro 4-cylinder, a geared version of the C125. C145 Euro 6-cylinder, 145 horsepower, 80 octane, 1800-hour design time between overhauls, C175 Euro geared version of the C145, a 6-cylinder, 175 horsepower at 3200 rpms, 80 octane, 1500-hour design time between overhauls, also designated as the GO300, E165 Euro 6-cylinder, 165 horsepower, 80 octane, 1500-hour design time between overhauls, E185 Euro 6-cylinder, 185 horsepower, 80 octane, 1500-hour design time between overhauls, O200 Euro 4-cylinder, 100 horsepower, 80 octane, 1800-hour design time between overhauls, E225 Euro 6-cylinder, 225 horsepower, 80 octane, 1500-hour design time between overhauls, Continental O300 Euro 6-cylinder, 145 horsepower, 80 octane, 1800-hour design time between overhauls. Family includes the GO300. The O300 is a modernized version of the C145, Continental IO346 Euro 4-cylinder, 165 horsepower, 91 octane, Continental IO360 Euro 6-cylinder, 210 horsepower, 100 octane, 1500-hour design time between overhauls. Family includes the TSI 0360, Continental Tiara, 0405, 6-cylinder, 6 to 285 6 to 320, 285-320 horsepower, 1969 Euro 1975, Continental 0470 Euro 6-cylinder, 230 horsepower, 80 octane, design time between overhauls 1500 hour or every 12 years. Family includes the IO470 and the TSI 0470, Continental 0520 Euro 6-cylinder, 320 horsepower, 100 octane, 1500-hour design time between overhauls. Family includes the TSI 0520 and the GTSI 0520, Continental 0526 Euro 6-cylinder, 270 Euro 300 Euro 310 horsepower, 1957, FSO-GSO-GO, Continental Tiara, 0540, 8-cylinder, 8 to 380 T8-450, 380 Euro 450 horsepower, 1970, Continental IO550 Euro 6-cylinder 280 horsepower to 360 horsepower 100 octane, engine, Family includes IOF 550 and TSIO 550. Continental TD 300, a Euro 4-cylinder, 230, a Euro 250 horsepower diesel and jet or Euro-fueled prototype engine, 2010. Radial and inverted V engines equals, R545 A70, I1430, R670, I975. Turboprop turbo shafts equals, Continental T51, Continental T65, Continental T67, Continental T69, Continental T72, Continental TP500. Jet engines equals, Teledyne CAEJ69, Continental RJ35 Ramjet, Continental RJ45 Ramjet, Continental RJ49 Ramjet. See also: Lycoming engines. References: Voss, Christopher F. Jane's Pocketbook of Modern Tanks and Armored Fighting Vehicles. Collier Books, pages 45 a Euro 49. 73 to 15286. Gunston, Bill. World Encyclopedia of Aero Engines, 5th edition. Phoenix Mill, Gloucestershire, England, UK, Sutton Publishing Limited. ISBN 0-7509-4479-X. Lis 2, Richard A. William A. Fleming. The History of North American Small Gas Turbine Aircraft Engines. Washington, D.C., Smithsonian Institution. ISBN 1-56347-332-1. External links: Official website.